I want to, first off, tell you that in this life, anything is possible, right? And stories can change. And you're not crazy for dreaming big or having those midnight ambitions that keep you up, from sleeping. This time last year, I recorded a video where I was talking about my desires for the challenge that I was doing called Watching a Man Change. I was making a movie out of my life where I was pursuing 6 goals that included my academics. One of my goals was to get into a university on a fully funded scholarship for my master's. I'm in the student union building of my university in the UK, Scott Bournemouth University. And I know that I am living and breathing in an answered prayer and a fulfilled dream. So let's talk about how I got here. I can't talk about how I got here without making mention of the challenge that I did last year, the Watching a Man Change challenge, where, like I said, I was burning, I was hungry, I had dreams that I wanted to achieve, as I still am, right? I still have things that I want to achieve that keeps me up at night. But let's talk about how I got here in the first place, right? The Chevening scholarship, let me tell you, in very simple terms, I'd applied for the Chevening scholarship in 2023 to get in 2024, right? And that was one of the most heartbreaking rejections that I'd gotten at the time. So what people told me was that if Chevening sends you a mail early February, it simply means you didn't get it. But if it's like from the 13th of February or the 14th or the 15th, that means you're one of the people that got in and then you qualify for the interview stage. My mail did not come in until, I think, February 18, right? So you can imagine how long I was waiting for a response. I had high hopes that, okay, maybe I've gotten this thing. Let me just, keep my mind at ease. And then I got a mail on the 18th that we regret to inform you that you did not qualify. I cried until I lost my voice. I would never forget that day in my life. I cried until I lost my voice. Yes, right? And the only person I told about it was my brother. My brother was the one that consoled me. He was in my living room and he just cheered me up and said, let's go and stroll. Let's stroll and buy food. So we stepped out to buy food. I was so angry, and in my moments of pain, I said, maybe I'm going to just buy up this scholarship one day or something. I like making crazy statements like that. And I'm like, I'm going to give people scholarships one day in the future. In the not so long future, I'm going to give, hundreds of students or thousands of students scholarships. And it's going to happen. And for some reason, I took my mind off it and I just focused on my work. I focused on building my business, right? Getting higher in my chosen field. And then from August 29 to November 29, only one thing was on my mind, which is the Watching a Man Change challenge that I was doing. And I hadn't paid attention to my scholarship applications until a friend of mine called Wonderful, right? One of my most wonderful friends called me, right, and said, Victor, you need to apply again for Chevening this year. I hope you have applied. She was not saying, just try. She said, I hope you have applied. I said, I haven't, but I'm going to do it. I kept procrastinating it. Do you know when I applied? I'll tell you. Chevening deadline last year, I think it was November 7 or November 5. I can't remember, right? But what I remember was that, I think it was November 5. What I remember was that the deadline was 12 p.m. GMT, and I sent in my application 11:53 or so. That's when I sent in my application, and I sent it in, I said a word of prayer, and that was it. I took my mind off it totally because I was so engrossed in the Watching a Man Change challenge that I was doing. And February this year, to be specific, February 14 this year, Valentine's Day, for some reason, I completely forgot that I applied for Chevening. It was not on my mind one bit. And then I saw a mail from Chevening Awards saying, congratulations. You have been invited for the interview. You've passed to the next stage. I said, wow, it's true. I actually applied for this thing. And then I called my friend, Wonderful. And I said, I don't know what's going on, but I qualified for the next stage. I called my brother and I told him that I just got a mail that I qualified for the Chevening interview. And I was scheduled for March 25th. March 25th came. I went for my interview. I got several questions. It was a very interesting season, right? From the moment that I got the email to preparing for the interview process. I had a friend, a very helpful friend. His name is Osita, that put me through. He's a former scholar as well. He put me through a few things, how to answer the questions. I took what he told me and I went for the interview. When I got to the interview, I realized I was the second to the last person to be interviewed on the day. And I got in, first off, my mouth was dry. I saw water on the table. I was like, please can I have some water? I'm really thirsty. And then they started laughing and I took some water and then I got relaxed a bit. And they asked me, first off, my name, introduce myself. Secondly, they said I should tell them about my leadership experience, how I plan to network in the UK when I get here, and how that's going to be relevant for me for what I want to do after my scholarship program. And I answered the questions, and then I left the hall. After I left the hall, I started remembering all the things I could have said better. It was almost getting to me. I started overthinking a bit until my brother told me, young man, relax. You're going to get this scholarship. And I called my friend to tell him how the interview went. He said I should go to church and start dancing, that he's 100% sure that I'm going to get in. I'm like, these people believe so much. Straight about it. And I decided to be anxious for nothing, but in prayer and supplication, make all my requests known unto God. And I did that. And then I just had this soothing calm in my mind, in my spirit, that everything was going to be fine. Sometime in June 18th, I saw the mail. Congratulations. You have made it for the Chevening Award. It was a Wednesday morning, June 18th. I will never forget that day in my life. All right. I was sick the night before. I was lying on my couch in the living room. I was the only person in my house at the time. And I froze for like 30 seconds and then I went on my knees. And I gave thanks to God. I didn't tell a single soul. It was Wednesday. I went for midweek service in my church. Attended church like it was Bible study. Attended church like nothing happened. Got back home. My brother was around. I told my brother that I want to show him a particular content that I just created on my Instagram. And I showed him the email. My brother broke down and started crying. I broke down and I started crying. I'm tearing up already. My brother reminded me of where we are coming from, where I'm coming from, where God picked me from, and how that it's nothing short of a miracle what God has made out of my life in a few years. I broke the news to my mom. My mother didn't know what to do with herself. Our lives had changed in more ways than one. And this is me telling you out there, who has probably faced a rejection of recent, or there's something you're really aiming for that hasn't turned up. Never stop believing. Never stop believing. 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 6 months of pain can be erased in 1 minute. I'm sure there's someone watching this and you're wondering, how do I even start? The answer is nothing complicated. You start by just starting in the messiest way possible. Your first draft is going to be terrible. Your first draft of anything, whether it's essay, content, whatever you want to do, whatever opportunity you're targeting, your first draft is going to be shit. But if you stay consistent and still try, in the face of all odds, you will become inevitable. It's a matter of time.